Okay, this is strictly an experiment as far as the video goes. I stumbled onto this method of free turning today, and I thought, I'm just about done, but I thought I'd try and do this video. I don't know how well it'll turn out. It's kind of hard. My shop is crowded, and it's hard to get a decent camera angle with everything the way things are to show you all the stuff, and I have to get my hands into this setup. The setup is nothing but this thick cast iron plate that I made a long time ago to hold separate insert tooling on here without anything else. It's on top of the compound, which is right over here underneath this, bolted with a T-bolt, a T-nut by these two bolts. Okay, that's simple. But I started with roughing this shape down in steps using the carriage and the cross slide, as I'd crank both of them and get a very approximate but crude curve. What I'm trying to do is create this crown that the template shows. The template I made off of a print, and it's pretty darn close now, but it still needs some more work. And anyhow, so just some detail work, and I thought, well, I'll give it a shot as far as the video goes. This thing worked out way better than I would have thought. I would have normally tried to get the steps out from the clunking over and over, a little bit here and there and a little bit there and there, as you're backing off the cross slide while you're at the same time moving the entire carriage. I've done that countless times, but anyhow, now the next step would have been with a file to file down the various ridges, but this works so much slicker, better than I ever could have imagined. So I'll show you the process now. Turn on the machine, and all I have to do is hold down one way or another, hold down out here near the tool and guide the back of it, but I also have to hold down on the back too, because if it tries to do this, it'll chatter. So this is why this thing is also the plate is very close to the part. Now just watch. I hope this comes out, because my head is stuck back here where it's out of the camera view. This is all I was doing. And then take another cut, and if I have to, use both fingers to get in here, and keep rocking the tool as I move so that the tips of the tool, the edges of the tool, don't dig in. So I'm always cutting with the flat here, and it's sort of in the middle. I didn't do anything special to this tool. It was an old one left behind. It's pretty sharp, but I'm just saying it's not specifically ground to any radius, anything like that. This is just a straight tool. And I discovered this by accident. I had a different tool. I had this tool in my turret, and I was going to do this in a whole series of flats. I did a couple of flats, and then when I was moving it the next time, I was tapping it, and it was snug, but you could move it in the turret, and it did a beautiful job of cutting, even though it wasn't rigidly held. And I thought, I wonder. So that led one thing to another to this method that I'm showing you right here. And as I say, it amazed me. I've never done it before in 50 years of playing with metal. I've never done this before, and it really worked out pretty cool. What I have to do is I have a little bit of a high spot in this area, and then the curve is pretty uniform again, and then there's a very high, in the very center, in about 3/8 of an inch, quarter to 3/8 of an inch, there's another high spot. That I may do by hand later, just because the surface speed is so low there that it's harder to get this thing to cut. But you can see for yourself how well this thing cuts. It just amazes me. And then I learned that, as I said, you got to hold down on the backside, otherwise you can get some chatter. You can slow the machine down just like you would with regular cutting and help eliminate the chatter if you run into it. But by taking light cuts, holding down two fingers, and blending that along, saves an awful lot of filing, to say the least. And of course, I've been moving this all over, all over closer to keep this in between these two bolts. This thing wasn't designed for this, but it sure is working out well for this. So, then, I'll try the template again, see how well it's fitting. Try to put it on center. Yeah, I've got a little high spot right here yet. It is not bad at all. I could blend that off, probably will. The main thing, what I'm trying to do, this is for a pendulum of a clock. I'm going to spin a sheet of brass over this, and I want it to be uniform in its shape. This is basically an ellipse. That's what I drew up here. This template is a half of an ellipse that I did in a CAD program. And I want to keep a uniform curve to it, as the template would show, so that I don't end up with ripples. I've seen an awful lot of pendulums that are made, pendulum bobs, that are made with ripples in them, and you can tell that they were spun without, let's say, an awful lot of care. I'd like to be a little fussier than that. I'm not wearing the microphone, so I don't know how well this sound is going to come out, any of that. I'm also going to do something here. I just thought, just so you know how well the finish turned out. Taking the camera out of the tripod, moving it along, and oh boy, that's getting better. There we go. Look at that reflection. That reflection is pretty darn straight. The reflection of this plate, pretty uniform. So that's showing. And that's the finish. There's absolutely no polishing been done on this whatsoever. None. Zero. So I'm going to keep playing with it and see about finishing it off, but that'll be it for the video. So thanks for watching, and I hope it was of some interest. See ya. Bye.